Hello, everybody. My name is Chris Egan. Welcome to King 5 Plus as we get you set for the big game, the NFC Championship game featuring the Seattle Seahawks and the LA Rams, now less than 1 week away. In the next half hour, we will listen to the head coach of the Seattle Seahawks, Mike McDonald, speaking to the media on Monday as we get you set for this big showdown. Seahawks taking care of business at Lumen Field, knocking off the 49ers, and it was the Rams on Sunday just getting by the Chicago Bears in a thriller that went to overtime. So there you go, setting the table for you. Sunday, January 25th, 3:30 at Lumen Field. It will be the Rams and Seahawks facing off for the third time this season. How about this stat right here? The two teams have faced each other twice. In those two games, the Seattle Seahawks had 829 total yards. The Rams had 830 yards. Just 1 yard separating these two teams in two games so far. Rams won the first game 21-19. And, of course, Seattle won that epic, thrilling comeback game at Lumen Field 38-37. Some bad news, though, today for the Seattle Seahawks. Zach Charbonnet is done for the season. Injured against the 49ers in the second quarter. He will need surgery on his knee, according to Mike McDonald. Reportedly a torn ACL. So far this season, Zach Charbonnet, 730 rushing yards and team-leading 12 touchdowns. All right, time now to listen to the head coach of the Seattle Seahawks. Here he is, Mike McDonald.
Moving forward there.
Yeah, it's really it's just pretty sure it's ACL. Maybe we're figuring out what kind of the extent of the injury is, and we'll, get all the details on when he's going to get it fixed and all that. But, you just feel for the guy, for the person. Just this guy's just a absolute stud. So, but he's around and he's in good spirits, and we got his back.
What have you thought of Ken's season to this point? Over 1,000 yards, played in every game.
Yeah, I think Ken's done a heck of a job. I mean, I think you've seen the results in the past X amount of weeks now of the result of, like, we always use a term, but really like stacking all those reps. I thought this is the most decisive he's ran up to this point, and as expected, you just keep getting better and keep finding ways to improve, and especially in the run game, and he's done a great job.
You said the most decisive he's ran. I mean, in that last game or just the last?
Yeah, this past game, I felt that was a heck of a performance.
He had the one run, I think it was maybe third quarter, where it's like the whole offense basically pushed him another 5 yards. I'm
right.
Guessing that's a play you like and you highlight.
Yeah, we showed that one today. Yeah, that was awesome. Just every yard matters, So guys are fired up to watch that one.
Velus and Cam, what have you kind of seen out of them?
Yeah, well, that's part of the reason we brought him here. Is just to provide great running back depth. Both are really good players in their own right, and they got a great opportunity in front of them. So you hate it to be under these circumstances, but it is what it is. We got to move forward. So they'll be ready to go.
Zach's pass protection is one of his kind of really high traits. What have you seen out of those other guys kind of behind him? How they kind of stack up in that situation?
That's something we depend on with Zach, and other guys are definitely capable of doing it as well. But just Zach is, he's really just been excellent at it. So that's why he's gotten the majority of those reps.
Do you see George Helani as someone who could potentially come back and help out?
George is an option. Yeah. We'll see how it goes this week.
Is he physically ready to go?
I think we'll just let it play out this week on how everything goes, but probably hear from that over the next few days.
Right. Justin Outten obviously stepped into the running back room when Kennedy left, and I'm curious, your thoughts on the impact he's had in helping evolve that running game.
Yeah, J.O.'s done a great job with those guys. Taking over that room. Helping his role and how we game plan, and then what he's done with helping out with the offensive line as well, and he's our guy. I mean, kind of all hands on deck and kind of all the different ways, which from my perspective is something I really appreciate. Is just whatever you kind of dig into, just kind of make that area sweet. Take it to the next level, and he definitely has that mindset and has great presentations for the players. I know. our running back room has really enjoyed working with him. So, yeah, definitely shout out to J.O. He's done a great job.
Hey, Mike, this morning, I wonder if you can clarify something for me. You said this morning if you're getting blocked, you're not doing your 1.9%.
Yeah, 1.09.
I'm sorry, 1.09.
Yeah, times 11 is what, 12?
No, hold on.
12 is more.
Yes. Okay. And then
Yeah.
you did drill down a little bit and talked about your area of influence in the run game, in stopping the run game.
Yeah, it's just, you're going to get blocked, but if you stay blocked, that's really not holding up your end of the bargain. So, we have to get off blocks and we got to get to the ball, and I know it's nerdy and dorky, but it's you got to do your job and then some. You have to defeat guys in front of you, and then you got to get to the ball. So, if you want to make it feel like 12 guys out there, you can't just can't be average. I'm sorry, what was the second part of the question?
That was it.
Okay.
And then the thing, the way your players are able to channel their emotions and then bring it when they need to.
Yeah.
And just stay within your.
Yeah, really proud of how we handled the game. The guys were poised. They're physical. They played extremely hard. It's exactly what we're looking for. So it was great. The guys did a phenomenal job. They've been doing a great job all year.
Mike, what were your thoughts watching and keeping an eye on the Bears-Rams game yesterday?
I didn't really it's just kind of, honestly, like, I'm like break down the game as it's going. Just like kind of tell myself the formation, what they're doing, what the situation, you kind of take like an academic approach to it, I guess. That's it.
Is that
Looked cold.
the case for like all games? Like, can you just sit and watch a game as a fan?
I always try to guess the play. I try to pull a Tony Romo and try to guess all the plays, Sometimes I'm right.
Are there any benefits when you're watching an opponent play a different team, like who they're playing in terms of the coordinator and how they're attacking in terms of what you can learn versus just general tape?
Well, yeah, you're always watching plays through the lens of, what that other team is kind of known for doing and what their stuff is, and so that includes the coordinator and how they build stuff. So that's always part of, how the thinking. It's not necessarily in the breakdown, but you kind of know, what other defenses do. So that gives you a clue to what that offense might be doing. So yeah, it's not like offenses nowadays are so good. It's just like they're not going to just run. Again, they're not just going to like pull plays out of thin air. It's all for. So if you go in thinking like every play is for a reason, you can start to kind of string together some logic.
Going all the way back to training camp, we'd see offensive, defensive linemen help each other out, give each other tips. Then we hear from Leo Saturday night that he says he credits that sack to what he heard from Gray Zabel. Like, what does that tell you just kind of about the connection this whole team has?
Yeah, it's an awesome story. I just heard about it this morning, and what a great microcosm of what I feel like our team has gotten to this point. It's really symbolic of that those relationships that we've built. And then like I said this morning, for Leo to be like have the humility to actually to seek out that type of advice and realize and take it from a rookie, kind of just initially to the kind of the like layman's perspective, it's like, why would he do that? But you kind of start to dig in and you realize that those guys have been working together for a long time, and they've developed a cool relationship. So I think it's really, really, really cool.
When you looked at the film, what stood out to him from the defensive performance on Saturday against the 49ers?
Our effort was tremendous. The guys are playing really hard. They're really convicted. We played sound football, which is imperative against that team, and we attacked the ball consistently. I felt like the guys were very, very intentional on attacking the football, so that was great.
I feel like we've been hearing that effort answer out of you week after week. But to be saying that about your defense in week 17, 18 playoffs,
right.
What does that tell you about these guys?
Well, I don't think I'd be standing here right now talking to you guys if our team hasn't decided to play with that type of effort, and that's really all three phases. So that's a decision that they've made that they want to play to, and I think our coaching staff has done a great job of showing them why and developing. It's like I've said this before, but it's like, okay, I'll play hard, but like if I don't know what to do and how to do it and what's expected and have all the reps underneath me all the time and how it fits and where the guy next to me is going to be, it's really hard just to run straight ahead into a wall and not really know all the context behind it. So you kind of have to have that understanding, so you can take great angles and take aggressive angles and know what to look at and know where, all those things that let you, play on time and so I think you're just looking at the result of just a ton of great stacked reps over the course of time. It's really that simple.
Do you have already have an idea of how you guys are going to balance keeping Sam sharp versus protecting him against, re-injury or anything? Or is that something you have to wait a couple days to figure out?
Yeah, I think it's something we're just going to work through day to day on, balancing, making sure we get enough reps at the proper tempo with the proper looks, and getting Sam the reps that he needs. But I think that'll just be day to day right now.
Going back to Saturday, when you see him take that sack early, come back the next play and rip that out to Cooper, does that kind of tell you that he had everything he needed that day to kind of be able to?
Yeah, that was a great see. I was nervous him going down there, him taking off, but yeah, and then he ripped the 7 cut to Coop. That was awesome. So at that point, I think I exhaled a little bit.
The practice of showing like plays that are shocking effort. You mentioned showing the one of the pushing Ken. Did you do that last year too?
Yeah. That's like, I don't know if I was a receiver, like I kind of want to know. I think it'd be cool I think it's a great opportunity for the guys that don't really understand like how everything. Not that they don't understand, but like show how it all fits together, and show that those little things are big things to us. And the other person that does a great job of that is Nico. Nico comes up here. We have fun ways to do it, like giving out belts and objects. We have all sorts of stuff we do, but like he's got a great energy to him. He comes up here at least twice a week. Guys love it. It's got great energy, and he's always highlighting, those little things that go a long way. And we have a great time doing it. And I feel like it paints a great picture to the guys about what we're looking for and what matters. And he's really headed that up, and he's done a great job.
When guys have talked about why you guys are here at this point in the year, they've mentioned that the expectation is clear of them, every day. That seems to be one example. Do you think there are other examples you have of how you show guys what the expectation is every day?
Man, I think you got to, like, if you say it's going to be about intent, then I think you have to back it up. And that's not just me. That's like our coaches and our and like the vets on the team, by like, hey, look, if you come up and you're prepared and you have a great attitude and you get after it and you go practice and go let it rip like we say all the time, you have to see like, okay, like I'm not going to get killed for doing something, but for making a mistake, so that way we can have that intent all those times. And to me, it's a coach's responsibility to make sure we make the most out of those reps by how we design things, how we coach it up, how we improve from rep to rep. And I feel like as a team, we've done a great job of that. I know we've fallen short sometimes, and that's going to be inevitable. But as long as you realize it, and then you kind of make it right, and nobody's all bent out of shape about it, you just say, "Hey, look, we realized it. We screwed this up. All right, now what are we going to do to move forward? And it's no harm, no foul, and let's rock and roll from there." But I think it's just that consistent attitude from day to day.
Jake Bobo had 2 catches all year during the regular season. He's a healthy scratch a few times. And a 3rd and 10, through 16-yard catches. Yeah,
it was a critical part of the game where we were able to finish that drive out and really not give an opportunity, a great opportunity at least, with the ball back and finishing with a touchdown. That was a critical play in that game, and that was a heck of a play. So, not surprised. More just happy for him that the preparation met the opportunity and we made it happen. But decisive throw on Sam's part, great run after catch, and put us in position to really, not be in jeopardy of getting doubled up at half. So that was big time.
On your pregame radio show, you had a quote about, if I have it right, because I wasn't writing it down at the time, but about gratitude erases anxiety, I think is what you said.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. I was just curious where you got that from.
It's a Mike Gervaisism,
What is that?
I'm getting coached too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, there's some study out there that he cites that's what it does, and it makes sense. Just count your blessings, and tend not to worry as much. So that's a good life lesson as well.
Yeah, but you kind of, it seemed like the context was making it this far, and so I guess the bigness of this could be something that could get you anxious or whatever.
Yeah. I mean that's a practice that I do. Is you look around, and, you're worried about. Look, I'm guilty. Like, hey, they got this play, they got that play, we got to defend this, blah blah. Then you walk in the locker room, and you're like, we got some great players, and they're ready to go. okay, I feel a little bit better now. So happens all the time.
What does it do to a defense when the players take ownership in your see ball, get ball mentality? You talked about how you teach that.
I think that's just a function of, look, if we can make it so it's simple and clear for the guys so they can go play the right way. You know, if you want me to go out there and you want me to do 7 things based off if the sky's blue or gray, and then if it's 70 degrees out or less, like, I don't know, I'm just going to be standing out there. But if you can put it in terms where I can go play the right way, and, you know, and it's different for different players, right? Some guys, it resonates more by giving them more detail and kind of getting into the weeds with them. Some guys, you know, they play their best ball when you just make it kind of a one-track mind and go wreck stuff, and that's how we choose to operate.
On that note, Ernest Jones, what is he like in terms of what you're saying, processing and how much you give him and getting players in the right position?
Well, he's got a lot on his plate, and he's really great at it. So if he wasn't as good as he is, then we couldn't be doing some of the stuff that we're doing. So he's right there at the forefront.
Given the way the division played out all the years, it almost feel like it was inevitable that this was going to be the path to potentially the Super Bowl, to go through 2 NFC West teams.
I just think it's cool how great our division is. You know, we really wouldn't want it any other way, honestly.
Zach, among other things, was really effective in like short yardage goal line situations.
Right.
How beneficial is it to have the tush push to lean on?
That's a great point. Yeah, I haven't really thought about it like that, but that's going to be something we continue to lean on. And then, you know, these other guys will be good in some of those situations as well.
How big was the blocking of the tight ends, particularly? I think Eric Saubert had quite a few notable ones in the game to kind of be a part of what you guys were able to do on the ground.
Yeah, Sabi had a great game. AJ had a great game. I'll tell you what, our receivers, you know, they continue to block really well on the perimeter. It takes all 11 to get the run game going. You know, it's not just running backs, not just the line. It's even the quarterback, making sure you're on the right plays, making sure you're carrying out your fakes. I mean, it's all connected. So a lot of times those tight ends are at the point of attack to get the play started, and they've been able to do that.
And what did you think about Amari, a tackle, when he jumped in there?
Yeah, did a great job. The guys were fired up about him. Again, there's a great play on one of K9's touchdown runs, and there's some other really good ones there as well. So, yeah, he should be proud of himself.
Do you expect Josh Jones to be able to come back to practice this week? And did anyone else other than Charles and Zach come out with any nicks?
Yeah, there's some things we're working through right now in terms of guys being kind of banged up. So we'll kind of play that day by day. And Josh is a candidate to come back this week. So, but it's just like we got to see how it is on Wednesday. If he's good enough to practice, great. If not, we got to move. You know, go to third. It's kind of where we're at right now.
Ken told us over the summer, excuse me, that he had changed up some of his like eating and I think he said his sleep routines with an eye towards, you know, availability and all that. How have you seen that help him this season?
Well, I know he's working through his foot at the beginning, you know, over the course of the off season, and that was frustrating for him because the amount of work that he was putting in, and I think hopefully he realizes the dividends that's paid, that work that he's put in to really get himself in a good spot up to this point. Because what I've seen a guy he's gotten better throughout the season, you know. So you can't say that about all runners, and so that's a tribute to him and how he's taking care of his body.
Does Charles need to see him practice to play?
I wouldn't say necessarily, but I wouldn't say necessarily. Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
All right, Mike McDonald, head coach of the Seattle Seahawks, addressing the media on this Monday, getting his team ready to play against the LA Rams in the NFC Championship game. You win that, you are headed to the Super Bowl. Let's take some of the big moments from that press conference from today. From Mike McDonald. Obviously, the big news on this Monday, Zach Charbonnet, running back for the Seattle Seahawks, is out for the season, injured his knee in the second quarter against the 49ers. He will need surgery. He is done. This is a big loss when you consider he had 730 rushing yards and leads the team with 12 touchdowns this season. He is very dangerous in the red zone. Now, some big moments from this press conference. Mike McDonald mentioned Velus Jones, Cam Akers. These are two running backs on the roster. Both of them may have a chance to step up on Sunday against the Rams. Velus Jones, he's a veteran. He's been in the NFL for 5 years. He's played for the Bears, the Jags, the Panthers, the Saints, and the Seahawks. Then you have Cam Akers, who's on the practice squad as we speak. If the name is familiar, Cam Akers played for the Rams from 2020 to 2023. And then, kind of the big surprise of this press conference is Mike McDonald mentioned George Halani, currently on injured reserve, but Mike McDonald says there is a chance we could possibly see George Halani on Sunday. So if he's progressing well with his injury, he could come off injury reserve and be that backup running back for Seattle on Sunday. That would be big news for Seattle if George Halani could play on Sunday. But once again, Zach Charbonnet's out, but let's also remember the Seattle Seahawks still have Ken Walker, their lead back. He's healthy. He's running the ball well right now. Ken Walker, 116 yards, 3 touchdowns against the 49ers on Saturday this season. He's over 1,000 yards. He's got 5 touchdowns during the regular season. As I just mentioned, 3 touchdowns against the 49ers. Now, against the Rams in their last game, Ken Walker, how about this? 11 carries, 100 yards, and a touchdown. He's run well against these Rams. He also had over 100 yards against Pittsburgh earlier in the season. So expect to see a whole lot of that man on Sunday against the Rams. Ken Walker, he's healthy, he's running well, and that is definitely a good sign for the Seahawks. Now, Sam Darnold, he's going to need to play his best game of the season on Sunday if the Seahawks are hoping to get by the Rams and head on to the Super Bowl. And Darnold has had some troubles against the Rams in their first game of the season when Seattle lost in L.A., 21-19. Sam Darnold, he says it was his worst game of the season. He had 4 interceptions in that game. Seattle still had a chance to win it. In their second meeting, Darnold, a little bit better. He had 2 touchdowns, but he also had 2 interceptions in that game. So against the Rams this season, 6 interceptions. Darnold will need to be better on Sunday. And with that in mind, let's set the table one more time for you. The big game coming up Sunday, 3:30 Lumen Field. Right now, Las Vegas says the Seahawks are the favorites. They're giving them 2.5 points to win this game. And stick with King 5 and King 5 Plus all week long. Ariel Rasuto, Paul Sylvia, myself, the rest of the King 5 crew, we will keep you posted on all the latest going on from Seahawks headquarters. The team will have more press conferences on Wednesday, Thursday. Friday, Mike McDonald will give his final State of the Union, if you will, before this big game. And then, of course, on Sunday, we'll have pre- and post-game action right here on the big King 5 Plus. Thanks for watching here. I'm Chris Egan. Go Hawks. We'll see you later on during the week.